This is where chaos meets design. This is football. In 2006, Colt Brennan had complete command of the offense. 5,549 yards, 58 touchdowns, over 72% completion rate. His coach would say it was probably closer to 82 if you counted the ones that were perfectly thrown, but his receivers just failed to bring them in. He didn't chase stats. He executed. He played within the system. The defense gave him looks, and he took what they gave. And when they gave him nothing, he created something. One of the key concepts that allowed that kind of efficiency was the divide series. It forced coverage to declare. It attacked space. It created leverage. And it gave the quarterback clear answers before the snap and after. Today's focus is on 4 plays: divide, divide special, PA divide special, and divide swap, all out of gun trip slot close in College Football 26. These are foundational pieces. They stretch the field. They attack discipline. They expose communication breakdowns, and they do it consistently. Divide creates stress on the safeties. Divide special adds backside options that punish rotations. PA divide special uses play action to hold defenders and open vertical seams. Divide swap moves the conflict, shifts the structure, and creates a matchup problem. It's not about tricking the defense. It's about putting stress on rules and making them wrong with sound design. This isn't about highlights. It's about installing concepts that win snaps, series, and games. Colt Brennan ran this system the right way. He trusted his eyes, trusted the spacing, and made the defense pay, one read at a time. That's a standard. Let's get to work. So how do you make streak a trips play? One of the ways to do it was what they originally called strong streak, later known as divide, and basically it's going to attack the safeties and divide them. The Y receiver there will go up and he will key off that weak safety, and he'll make his decision on what he's going to do based on that. The H will go up behind him and can post up or go up the seam. You can also switch release both those guys and make it even more complicated for the defense. You can really go 81 or 60. So you can half roll to the trips or away. 81 would be away. And Southside in our server, he says he typically will read it that way. There's a lot of times I do as well, but I think there's some times where 60 makes more sense. But you're going to read that X receiver on an alert and then work your way across left to right. So here's that playbook diagram, 60-61 strong streak, and then it's changed to divide with various tags, and we're going to take a look at those right now. First off, that in route is just too short to clear the under coverage or to trigger the weak safety versus quarters or any kind of match coverage. So you want to stem that in up on any version of divide that has that route. You can also sometimes smart route it if it's 1st and 10, but you need it to go at least 12 yards. For the single receiver, the most common ones you'll see are comebacks or the 12-yard out. They both are really good. In the run and shoot cert program, June talks about liking it with that out route. Tags for the number 1 receiver, you're really going to be wanting to have that 15-yard curl since you don't have the option right over there. And then you're just going to read it across, 1, 2, 3. And if you're going to tag for the back, you want to look at the check release flat. I really like that as an option against drop coverage. So let's look at divide out of trip slot close. This is going to be kind of the basic way to run it with no switches and no, anything weird. It's just going to be normal, no play action, and it's against cover 1 hold to start out. We got that in deeper. This is 81. My eyes are there. Making sure I'm seeing the danger in front of my receiver. You don't want to scan into the danger. You want to scan across it. So we're starting over there on our alert and then coming across. And that out is going to be really good against single high. And if you can time it just right, definitely recommend you get into practice mode and try this for yourself. You just get right down the sideline. Now, with all these, we're going to be going on the right hash The big difference with one blitz is that heat comes a little faster, but you also have one less hook guy over the middle that can potentially rob that in route. And you can still hit this on the outside. Against 3 match, you're going to see the leverage is a little different, but that's not really going to be there. This plays it better. You can sometimes get ahead if you have a better guy than the guy they have defending it. It's all going to come down to the leverage and how some of these brackets play out. That out is still way better. The other thing here is that check release. If they're all dropping into coverage, that check release can be a really good little safety valve, especially against cover 3 and 3 match. Against 3 fire zone, there's a pretty nice little hole there. This is an overload strong blitz. It may be different with a different kind of blitz, but if you do encounter this style of blitzer, there's a nice little hole that you can just fill in real easy by throwing to that in a little early right up the seam. You also can still hit that out. Against 3 zone, if you start off looking on the trip side and then scan left with the receivers, you can easily fall into this trap. You definitely want to start with your eyes over on the left and then scan across and get it to the first open guy that you see. And right on this one on 3 sky, you can get that guy up the seam. 4 zone. This one's going to be a tough one to crack because the hole is either right there up that seam area. Again, really tight window. You can try and get it between those hook defenders. That's going to be tough. There's not really a great option. I'll show later that check release is okay against it. Now against 4 quarters, you can single up. You'll notice the weak safety's taking the in, which leaves you one-on-one with the strong safety and that post route kind of over the middle. This plays out exactly like Mills, but by the slot receivers. Versus Palms, it's a little different. So if you watch that weak safety, he's going to run back to try and take that post still. Even though that's a deeper route, that out is still kind of viable, or the comeback. I like the comeback a lot better against cover 4 family. And that in can still win if he is a stud. I do highly recommend that inside slot receiver is your fastest dude. No one's really open there. That's what you got to be careful of. Some coverages is just going to be like that. With cover 6, it's tough with the stock version of divide. But with cover 9, it's pretty much it's a big play. You can get that pretty consistently. And then it's what do you do with it after that? I would make it a 9 if I was consistently getting into the end zone on an 80-yard touchdown, but I'm consistently getting like a 60, 70-yard play out of it. So that's still pretty damn impressive in my book. Tampa 2, you'd think this is going to just pulverize it, but because there's no one really available short to keep any of those hooks occupied, they all just drop with it. But you have the boundary over here. You could put your back on a curl or an option route, and that is an option, but it's an option for a 3-yard gain. That doesn't really help you much. That whole shot's going to be a lot better. Keep your guy in protection. Against 2-man, it's going to be about just who can beat who. You're going to get one of these slots probably open most of the time. Probably the end, because it just opens a little faster and it breaks straight across. Double bracket, that can be a little tricky for some of these more vertical concepts, or it can leave the defense really badly leveraged. This is going to be a 9 because this is not even that bad.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure you smash that like button and comment down below. It really helps the channel.
This is pretty easy to score on. And even that is a score. Put that in your back pocket for when you need a good cover 0 beater. like right now. Against cover 0, it's going to be largely the same. The pressure is going to come in a little bit faster, which is going to make this a lot riskier. You're not going to be able to kind of hold on to the ball as long as you can against bracket, but you're going to still get a lot of that same leverage downfield. Divide special, you basically just switch release the 2 inside guys. So the 2 main tags we're going to use is the comeback by X, and we're going to have the 15-yard curl over there by the B receiver, the Z. And I really like that a lot. We're going to see how that works out on this one right here. Eyes over on the left. The alert is really if you see single coverage and you like the leverage of the route versus that coverage, you can take it. If you, let's say you didn't like it, you move your eyes across. You see that guy comes wide open. You kind of have to hit that curl on time. So if you notice everyone's manned up, give him a gander, because if you can get to him fast in your progression, you can really rip that in there versus any kind of man kind of coverage. But if you don't get to him on time, you can get to this guy late over the top. Now that's a lot easier if you do have that speedy guy that you can have in there, your slot wide receiver 1. But even without a super speedy guy, if you just have a guy that's decently speedy, you can still make a play. You want to pass lead it outside and deep with classic. Now, what that is and with revamped or with placement and accuracy and other settings, I can't tell you. I'm mostly using classic trajectories and passing settings. That's a crazy play. We are using the half roll with a half slide the opposite direction. So you'll notice on some of these reps, I have the blocking showing. That's kind of the setting I'm using. Now this is an 8 because this gets open down the field. Now you do have guys coming in your face. Careful with that. But yeah, having that curl out there just opens up that seam shot so much more. That's beautiful. That could have been trouble if I had a slower receiver in there. Oh. Beautiful. Against 3 blitz, it's going to be kind of that same look, but, you know, even a little bit easier. 1 less defender out there kind of getting in the way of it. In exchange, though, they are bringing in an extra guy. You can just catch that even a little faster, but you're not going to get quite the same explosive out of it. And you got to be careful. Sometimes they're just going to come and blow you up, especially that extra blitzer. Against 3 sky. And get that guy open a little bit down the seam. But it's not going to be the best. You can try and roll out and kind of leverage this open, but that's a risky play in my book. Against 4 drop, this is not going to be the best play against 4 drop. You can try and squeeze it into that tight window. It's not going to be consistently there. Would not recommend it against 4 drop. Against quarters, though, that curl's going to be there. You can maybe get this guy if you can buy some time by rolling out. This might be a time where, yeah, if you have time to get it to that wheel, but that wheel usually just takes too long. But if you do, you can get this shot, and it's really great. I would rank the play higher if that throw was an easy throw, but it's a throw that you'll see pretty rarely. Against palms, it's also a tough throw. Trying to pass lead it kind of up and outside. That curl's going to be more consistent for you than any of the other routes. Cover 6. You get that little post there over the middle off the switch release. Right between the... that is a lot better than what we were seeing before. Now remember, regular divide just destroyed cover 9. But this switch version doesn't quite hit the same. Tampa 2. And try and squeeze that in there. This is going to be, in general, worse, though, than using regular divide. It's still a pretty consistent overload in that kind of outside seam area. So it's not a bad play, but I wouldn't say it's a home run either. Like, that's a much better rep than any of the ones we had against cover 2 zone. But so much of it is going to be about, can your guys just be better than theirs? In that case, my guy at number 3 was just better. Against bracket, it plays this a lot better than it played the regular divide. And against cover 0. You can get that guy open there, and he can make a couple guys miss. I think I went plaid there for a second. That was like ludicrous speed. He's gone. Now, there is a PA version of this. This isn't in the run and shoot playbook. It's in San Jose State's playbook, who has a Nick Rolovich disciple. Craig Stutzman is their offensive coordinator. And this version, if you have a custom or if you're using San Jose State's playbook, is killer. Killer, killer, killer. Against cover 1 hole, you notice the score there at the bottom is a 9 because it just destroys it. Now, obviously, I do have my super fast guy there, but I am going against super fast LSU DBs. So if you have a speed advantage, this play is going to just kick butt for you. It's important still putting that curl out there. Gives you a place to kind of come down with the ball if nothing is available. It also can help leverage open that wheel route. Like that. Touchdown. This isn't anything glitchy. No one is just going uncovered for no reason. Now, I think that quarter flat, not even a quarter flat defender, is he? That seam flat defender could get out a little bit faster on the wheel. I'm not going to say it's being played perfectly by 3-match, but it's 4 strong. It's trips. Like, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for any kind of 3-match to really handle that route properly. There's a lot more tight windows you're throwing into with 3 sky. And you don't really have, with the PA version, you don't really have the option to just put him on the check release. You really want him to be on that PA, and I'll show you why here in just a second. Because against 4 quarters, this is maybe the best quarter beater in the game. Just take it on home there, my man. That is a 9 score. Another 9. I've had a lot of 9s in this rating so far. Nine means it's a consistent big play. Like, consistent maybe 1 play touchdown level. If you know what you're doing and you throw it right. Then it's just about figuring out what are your opponent's tendencies. What are their favorite coverages? How are they going to play this 4 strong? Most teams are only going to play it 2 or 3 coverages. So you figure out what those coverages are, what their tells are. Dial up plays that have 9s against those coverages. If you can find a play that has 9s against, everything, then that's great. But otherwise, have a few different options in your arsenal. Part of my run and shoot guide that I put together every year is rating all these plays like this and then using that to populate call sheets and ready lists so that you have all your go-to plays handy so that you have a cheat sheet in game when you need it. Nice thing about the PA is that these defenders that are maybe safeties and whatnot that are in the run fit, they get held up a little bit by the PA, which helps leverage things open down the field. If you haven't checked out my Discord, I have a whole Discord called The Game Plan, where we just go over nothing but schemes and talk about the latest news in football and the game. We complain, we laugh, we joke, we post GIFs. It's a fun time. You should come check it out. Link is in the description. Against Tampa 2, again, you're going to be able to overload that seam area like you were with the normal version, but it's a little bit more vertical and a little bit more open than it was with the regular dropback version. Against cover 2 man, that still kind of gets there. That curl was a risky throw, but if you know it's man, that deep curl is pretty good against all man, especially into the boundary. You don't want to do that to the field, only to the boundary. So you're going to be scanning across. You say, oh, there he is. Go over top. You can try that, but it's a tough throw to make. Against edge bullet 0, this is actually surprisingly good. It's weird. Play action last year was blocked so poorly, and I feel like this year it's maybe blocked better, at least based on how this play is blocked. The blocking on the PA version of Divide Special seems to hold up better than the dropback version with 6-man protection. Yeah, that route's just coming open right over the top pretty consistently. And then the last one is Divide Swap. And Divide Swap is a pretty fun play. If you wanted to make Go Swap, you could just put that inside in route onto a flat. But that's for a different conversation on a different day. But then the way you could kind of get 2 plays out of this one. That wheel up the sideline is going to be really nice because basically you have 1 and 2 switching now off of regular divide. I'm going to put that comeback out there a lot on the left, and remember you're stemming up that in every single time you run this. And that comeback can pull down that corner, which leverages open that space behind him against any kind of match or one high kind of coverage. Now he's going to break back on his comeback, and you just throw it right when he kind of hits that point. And if you time it just right, you can break that for a nice little run, especially because you're only throwing these comebacks really to the field. And you have those ends crossing and a post over the top. There you have that wheel. Could have been a big play. Let's see if I can get it this time. Got it. I would be rated higher if I could consistently get that every time, but it's a tricky one to convert. Just scan across and you see that guy's wide open in green grass. You can just throw it right to him. do that with me. Just put your eyes over there on your alert on the left and then scan across and see if you see it at the same time I do. Now, this is a tough one because you're going to try and squeeze it into that area there between the two hook defenders. It's a tight area. If you throw it too early, it could be jumped. One option that I saw online was this right here. There's a 4-strong run and shoot video out. I'll put the link in the description. And this high school coach was saying, they ran mostly this divide play with the halfback out on a flat control, which is where I'm getting this idea of using the check release. You could use the regular flat or the halfback swing, but I found that this one was the most effective, and it still gives you the possibility that he could stay into block. Against any kind of drop coverage, that little check release guy is a great addition if you're seeing a lot of drop 8 kind of coverages. Oh, that is nice when that can hit. Then it's off to the races. Against palms, divide swap. You can hit that sweet spot. That comeback over there helped again. It's going to get that open pretty consistently. Yeah, that's a weird one, isn't it? Watch, that weak safety comes over and he actually ends up playing more of like a deep middle third. That can get you in trouble. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. The strong safety actually took the N across, and the weak safety came over the top like a middle third and bracketed that post. Not what you would expect. So just make sure you keep an eye out for that. But there, it's a much more clean read. That safety takes the N, you hit that post right behind him. That strong safety there takes the N, you throw that post right behind him. We're just going to be reading those safeties and dividing them. Or in this case, we're throwing that comeback out there and taking it off down the sideline. Sometimes you're just going to cover most of this stuff. It's not like these things are automatic every single time. Cover 9 is a tougher coverage for this play. Against 2, also not its strong suit. Swap has a lot of strong suits, but that is not it. But hey, you can throw that back out there and look, that's 10 yards. So if you're running into someone that's taking it away, add that out and open up your game. Because that flat defender is playing really deep this year. And so you can sneak that guy in late underneath, and he can pick up a whole bunch of yards because he's just wide open in space. Against double bracket, it's okay. It can be better, though. It all depends on how it plays out, and you can get this one-on-one down the sideline.
Comment your favorite version of divide down below.
And of course, against cover 0, well, there you go, right over the middle. You have your comeback out there as well. See if we can break a big one this time. Nope, not quite. If they're calling cover 0 to slow you down, that's not the way to do it. I was averaging like 18 a catch. So here's the total rankings from today. As you'll see, 3 sky and 4 drop are where it is weakest. But with those, if you do add in that check release, it probably raises it up to 5 for me for all of those. So that helps. But against pretty much everything, that PA Divide Special is probably the best version. And where it is weaker is where the regular divide is strong. So if I could only carry 2, I would carry both of them. But divide swap is solid too. If you want to get all of these rankings, you're going to want to join my Patreon. I'm going to be having the full guide drop here shortly. The only thing I really have left to test fully is the run game. I'm waiting for the first big patch of the year that will hopefully improve how the run blocking is kind of targeting things. before I go through the process of testing every run. But once that's out, the guide will be out. I wanted to take a minute to focus some attention to an awesome guy on Twitter called Talk and Shoot. He has been just posting about the run and shoot constantly over there, posting diagrams, showing videos. Definitely would recommend you checking out his content if you are interested in learning more about the run and shoot. There's also the Run and Shoot Certified. The link is for that, and it's in the description as well. My Discord, and of course, like I said, my Patreon, where I'm going to have that full RNS guide, is also available. In the meantime, I have already posted a ready list of the go-to plays over there, and you'll see a version of that here in just a second on my Patreon. Oh, this is too hot for TV. Can't show that on here, but as you can see, I already have a lot of plays rated, and I've already been sharing some of those things with my patrons. I also have all my test streams that you can go check out. If you want to know more, you want some early access, make sure you check out the Patreon. In the meantime, divide and conquer your enemies with Divide.